Studioloo, and I'm here today with another journal walkthrough. So this is the second last of my Sesame Street junk journal series, my vintage Sesame Street inspired junk journals. So this one has sort of a modified funny Big Bird theme. It's made in an old Art of the World encyclopedia from Greystone. So it's like a nice brown leather-bound book, and I didn't do a whole lot to it really, to the cover. I just sort of left it be, and I sealed this some things onto it. So this is yellow fun fur, just kind of like in Big Bird's legs, just sort of like an ode to Big Bird. And on the cover there is Prairie Dawn that I've covered up the Art of the World label with, just to kind of keep the theme. And on the back, just a little tree, and it has this is the eyelets that go through each side of the book, and I've tied it with this fun cotton ribbon. It's yellow with black polka dots. And I should show you the signatures. So there are 2 signatures in this book, and I have tied on a couple of cool things. So these little purple pearls and this little piece of vintage jewelry. So they just kind of dangle and hang out there. So I don't know about you guys, but it is swelteringly hot this weekend where I am. And I've just been working on getting the backyard and the pool ready for summertime. And I've done a ton of planting, so my hands may look a little bit like what is going on, but it's okay. They're clean. I have washed them 100,000 times today. So yeah, it's been extremely hot and relatively humid and a lot of sun. So I hope everybody is hanging in there and staying safe and enjoying a little bit of summer, though, hopefully, or spring. I guess it's not even summer yet, but anyhow, let's jump into this journal. So it just ties in a bow, and you can basically just lift this up and tuck it behind if you want to, or you can pull it off completely. It's up to you, but I just usually do this, and then it stays with the book. So then you open up, and I used a theme on both of these covers that was basically the Sesame Street monsters having this crazy experience at a restaurant. So I used it on the front as well as the back cover. So I'll show you both right now so that we look at those first. So I just absolutely loved these illustrations and thought they'd be really fun. And then the book is bound with fabric and then has just a plain binding. This is a hidden spine. I have a couple of little holes from my hole punch in there. So the first page is a couple of pockets. So one goes up and one goes down. And so this is, I'll take everything out to take a look, but this is the lower pocket, upper pocket, both Cookie Monster themed. And behind it, this is actually fabric paper that I've made, and it has a Ferris wheel on it. This is from a really cool fabric that I actually made a dress out of, and I had another couple of yards left of it. And then in the bottom pocket, we have this nice heavyweight collaged Ernie journal card, and it's been sewn around, and it's on heavy brown cardstock paper. And so that just tucks in the bottom. And then on top we have another journal card. This one is Grover, and he's juggling, and it's collaged front and back, and that just pops in the top like that. And then I've stuck my little note from me, the bookmaker, in here, and that just tells you a little bit about my journals. And then on this side, we have a booklet that I've made. I'll turn it in the right side so you can see on camera properly. So this is Cookie Monster, and for those of you who are around my age, you will remember Mr. Hooper. So Sesame Street fans, older ones will remember Mr. Hooper. He owned the corner store on Sesame Street, and then in real life he passed away, and they actually talked about it on the show, and it was actually a really, like, you know, interesting and such a revolutionary thing in children's television that they address death. And so I always sort of think of him and like have this kind of lump in my throat about it, because I remember dealing with it as a kid and it was like important to me. And it was like before my own grandparents passed away. And so I feel like it did prepare me a little bit. So that's a big reason that I'm really a huge fan of Sesame Street, because I think that it did and it still does address a lot of really important things that kids, it's not always easy to talk to your kids about everything sometimes, so it's nice to have other influences that can at least kick off those conversations, right? So Mr. Hooper. And so inside are just a few really cool papers that are like handmade paper that have all different patterns, and so it's extra journaling space that you can write on. Most of them are relatively just plain flower paper or patterned paper, but they're really nice papers and they're all inside that booklet. And then here is a piece of patterned brown paper just to flip, and you can write on that. And then this is a big pocket from a scene from a vintage Sesame Street book, basically about like a king, and he was kind of being a glutton, eating a bunch of things, but they use it like as a counting exercise, so you count how many pies, how many apples, etc. And inside the pocket, there's a journaling card that's collaged. It has an orchid on the front and some children's illustration books behind it, and then lined paper on the back. And that just tucks right in there. There we go. Tucks right in there, and I just leave it peeking a little bit. And then over here is a really cool illustration from a book. I don't remember what book. It's a children's book, but if you can see, these are like, they look almost like pigeons kind of, but like they also are like these tree kind of monsters with like one eye, but like depending on how you look at them, they kind of look like pigeons from the side to me. I just thought it was a really cool illustration. And there's like a little astronaut, like I guess that they're aliens or monsters. I totally forget what children's book that this came out of. And then on this side we have some nice yellow polka dot scrapbook paper with some tickets along the bottom. And then I've just tucked this, this is just a two-sided Thumbelina illustration that I thought was really pretty. And so I just popped it on there. I believe it's from a golden book. And this side is just plain white paper. And over here is a piece of paper that has been covered in handmade paper that has like little strands of plant material. And then there's a little Sesame Street monster peeking out the corner. And over here is a pocket. More Sesame Street imagery, of course. That's the theme of the journal, so I won't keep saying it over and over again. So this is a collage journal card with Bert. A nice big card in a pocket. And over here is Ernie looking like he's having a day of house cleaning and worrying about something. And Grover's behind there. And this is vintage wrapping paper. And there is a tag inside. And this side just has some nice red floral fabric. And this is vintage music paper. And on this side is a pocket. And inside is this fun piece of, this is a journal card basically on scrapbook paper, and I've done some collaging. And over here is an upper tuck pocket, and this lovely scene behind it, and a large journaling card with Guy Smiley. And this side is Big Bird wearing a wig and reading The Three Little Bears. I guess it's the Goldilocks story, and Big Bird is Goldilocks. And over here we have a sleeping Grover on Easter egg dyed paper, a little castle on that side. And then this is just a little illustration that I drew a long time ago. It was like a sketch for a painting that I was doing. And I just glued this ribbon on here. This is just kind of like a fun surprise that's in the middle of the journal. So on the back is fabric and on the front is paper, and they're sewn together, and you can write on both sides actually. And this is dyed paper. It's been stitched around, so it's just kind of like a fun thing in the middle of your book. And on this side we have this little flip. There's a little fish illustration here, and this is marbled hand-dyed paper. And on this side is scrapbook paper with Guy Smiley and this moon sort of, it's like a prop from a play. And a very disgruntled looking Bert lifting up like a bicycle or a wagon wheel. And some nice brown paper with little floral star kind of patterning. And this is some dyed line paper with marbled paper and a little storm cloud there. And this paper actually folds out farther. It's a tri-fold, so for more writing space. And on the inside is Bert carrying a bunch of books. And on this side this is the center of the first signature. I should mention that. There's two signatures in this book. And this is the little Sesame Street top of the light post and a little clock there. And this is all dyed paper, Easter egg dyed paper. And a little cute puppet on this side. And this is more of the brown paper. And this is one of my favorite illustrations from Sesame Street ever. This was basically a how-to, like how to make your own hand puppets out of socks. And so this is a large journal card that is just clipped with this paper clip that has a nice handmade felt bead on top. And so that's just clipped there for more writing space. And some nice scrapbook paper and some really cute kind of funny Japanese kawaii drawing paper. I just thought it was kind of a cool thing to pop into this journal. And this side is a belly band with, what is his name? I forget. he's like an investigator and I forget his name. All of a sudden, it's not the Amazing Mumford, that's the magician, but I forget his name. Anyways, he's like Sherlock Holmes, basically. So inside are two journal cards. There's the Amazing Mumford and Prairie Dawn and Oscar. And over here we have Ernie and Cookie Monster. Cookie Monster is, I think, just drinking a quart of milk. So those just pop in here. And on this side is Easter egg dyed paper with the count at the bottom. And over here, just a little pair of scissors. And this is just a nice scene from the vintage Sesame Street book. And I've painted with acrylic paint over the words just to make it sort of more cohesive to write on. And on this side is some nice iridescent paint over a scene from Sesame Street. And this is gold leaf paint that is covering up the words to make it nicer to write on. And another belly band on this side with the count and this large journal card inside. So it's music paper underneath. And that's a nice big journal card with Easter egg dyed paper on the back. And that just pops right in there. And on this side we have that same guy who I can't remember, but he's looking at an ant with a magnifying glass. Hopefully the sun isn't out. And then there's a pocket here with Bert, and inside is this really fun big journal card with yellow lined paper on the back. And this is a children's book page that I just left because it's really fun and kind of like a quick how-to. So it's basically how to make like a round balloon paper mache puppet doll kind of thing. And so there's enough here that actually you could use these instructions. So it's just probably a lot of people did this as a kid, but basically like you blow up a balloon and you can put it in a bowl or in something else to just kind of hold it securely, maybe with masking tape, and you just rip strips of paper, and you can use like a 50-50 glue water mix to just dip those long strips of newspaper in. You cover your whole balloon with them with about 3-4 layers until you have a nice hard surface, and then you wait for the whole thing to dry, and then you have a nice like hard surface, and then you can like poke a hole to pop the balloon, or you can cut the bottom out if you want to be able to put your hand inside, and you have this round surface that you can paint. So like in this corner, it sort of looks like the Humpty Dumpty character from Romper Room. It reminds me of. Is it Romper Room? No, it's Pokeroo. Pokeroo, sorry. I actually have a Pokeroo. I should show him to you. Hold on. Because he's right here looking at me. Pokeroo. So anyways, that's a really fun project. And on this side is another project, and that is how to make your own dolls, paper chain dolls, and then how to make a doll out of wine corks. And again, there's enough of these book pages that you could actually sort of look at the illustrations and do it yourself. Like this one shows that they basically strung together all of these wine corks. You know, you poke a hole through the middle, and then paper dolls, it basically shows you how to fold your paper and then cut them out. And then this is just white paper with a little Grover head looking down on what you've written. And some scrapbook paper. And on this side we have this cute little Cookie Monster booklet, and inside of it is different papers, coffee dyed, avocado dyed, just little line papers. Some have some flowers, and that is just for extra writing space. Oops, let me just... There we go. That back one wasn't fully detached. Sometimes when you dye with plant materials, there we go, little bits get left behind like this, and it's kind of cool because they usually like mold themselves down on the paper, but sometimes they just kind of get stuck. So, and this side is just a children's book page, and then another little flip here, another children's book page. And this side is a side tuck. It's a count sort of comic. And then this is a double fold. This is the center of the two signatures. So this is a large scene with count basically on a bus trip or on a train trip. And in the center, I've just placed a large collaged journal card just for extra writing. So that just goes in the middle there. And on this side, it's a children's book page on the back with this Sesame Street page pocket. And inside is a collage journal tag that I've made with a vintage golden book and some other kids' images, and that just pops in there. Speaking of journal tags, I'll be making another video really soon and popping in my shop. I finished making 10 glue books out of little golden books. So those will be coming soon as well. Just some nice blue paper. On this side we have a sleeping Oscar and some cool paper. On this side we just have these two little girls down here sort of looking up at your writing, and a gold doily on the blue paper. And on this side is a belly band that goes sideways and says Splash on it. And this is a large journal card with Big Bird and, is it Sam the Monster? And that is sort of a heavy cardstock weight. And this is some children's coloring paper. And this is a pocket, and inside of it there is this journal tag that has some crochet cotton applique on top and yellow paper on the back. And that's again on vintage paper, wrapping paper. And then this is sort of a free motion quilted book page pocket. And underneath it is this interesting vintage children image and a little Sesame Street image there. And this is a big journal card that just pops right in this pocket. On this side we have a fabric flip, so it's just a piece of fabric that hides what's underneath, and underneath I have iridescent painted this vintage children's image. Hopefully you can see in the light that it's iridescent paint that has like a bluey purple tinge to it. And then this is a little booklet that I've made from some children's book imagery and coffee dyed papers. And this is a booklet that's been made out of book pages. So the whole thing is sewn around and there's some Sesame Street images inside. So it's a trifold for you to write in. And then there's this little tiny burp pocket with this cute little journal tag inside. It's an image of Guy Smiley as like a cowboy at a milk bar. So it's pretty cute. And then this page has this little face, and over here is another little booklet. It says Once Upon a Time, and this is an image from Thumbelina. And it's a booklet of yellow writing paper, so there's a few pages in there for you to do some extra writing. I worked some other children's themes in this book. I didn't make it completely like Sesame Street, like you want to kind of make it your own signature. And this is another nice image and some painted space that you can write on. And this is an older depiction of Grover and this little yellow bird. And some trash cans and a little rubber ducky. And we're already in the center of the signature. And there's Ernie with a hammer. And this is a children's book page that talks about how to tell the age of a tree from how many rings it has and how to grow your own tree. And they're showing chestnuts and acorns. And over here we have an upper tuck pocket on children's book page and a tag inside that's done with, it's a collage of different papers and an image of a little bug sitting in a scale. Over here we have Big Bird and more Sesame Street images, a large pocket with Ernie looking in a wash tub, and inside is this Count in a castle. And underneath it you'll see this is like sort of a natural science kind of children's book. And that's the other side, which has a bunch of animals. And this is a vintage children's illustration, and it's painted surface to write on, both sides. And there's a rubber ducky over here. And this side has a large pocket of the same theme as the two ends of the book with the monsters at a restaurant. And inside this pocket is a large journal card of a bunch of Sesame Street characters having a big party. And that's a heavyweight journal card on heavy cardstock. And this is just a little monster sitting on a chair. And children's coloring book paper. And another sleeping Oscar. I think we have a few sleeping Oscars in this book. Blue paper and this gold doily. And then just some writing paper with Big Bird. And a little duck looking down on whatever you're going to write there. And a flip. And then the back is just this little pocket made from a children's book page. And inside is a collage journaling card. Prairie Dawn dancing. Oops. Every now and then little paper scraps hang out in these books because they end up on my work table. This is just how to make your own dolls out of paper towel and what's the word, tubes, and some construction paper and things like that. So Lots of fun. So that wraps up this book. So this book will be heading to the shop sometime next week. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you liked it, please subscribe to my channel and check out my social media in the description box below. Hit the bell for notifications on when I make new videos. And I hope you have a wonderful summery day. Thanks.